Hey guys, it's Moxie with the Power of Yield. Today we're going to be talking about the gear I brought on the Colorado Trail, but more specifically we're going to be talking about the gear that failed, the gear I sent home, what I replaced them with, and the gear I would change if I was to do the trail again. For your convenience, I tried to break this down to 2 points on the trail, mile marker 104 in Breckenridge and mile marker 220 in Bona Vista. From Waterton Canyon to Breckenridge was relatively smooth. I lost a couple things, a beard comb, a tripod, things like that. But my only piece of gear that failed was my Thermaless Neo Air. I popped 2 holes in it in the first 5 nights. So I ended up sleeping on the ground in those nights. So as soon as I got to Breckenridge, I took the bus to the REI in Dillon and I picked up the Sea of the Summit Comfort Light. This mattress is about a half-pound heavier, but it takes maybe half the breaths to fill it up. It has a higher R value and it's wider, so when I woke up in the middle of the night, I didn't find that half my body was off the pad like I did with the Thermarest. So overall, I ended up falling in love with this as a piece of equipment, and despite the extra weight, I will be carrying it from here on out. The other thing I picked up at the REI in Dillon was tenacious tape. I kept getting these little holes in the rainfly of my tent that I was not sure where they were coming from or how I was getting them. So I did have to get some tenacious tape to repair them in Dillon. And they ended up coming in handy again in Silverton when I had to repair my tent fly for like the 3rd time. Another thing I did on that bus ride from Breckenridge to Dillon was stop at Walmart in Frisco and pick up some good camp shoes. These were essential, obviously, for camping when I wasn't actually hiking to give my feet a break. And also when you're taking zeros in towns or Neros, it's good just to let your feet breathe a little bit and get out of those shoes that you've been hiking all those miles in. Now between Breckenridge and Bona Vista, I was using Aquamira for my water purification, and I was just on the other side of Twin Lakes and it leaked out overnight. So it was basically about a half-day's hike back to Twin Lakes if I wanted to pick something up there, but supplies were limited. So I ended up going on to Bona Vista and just telling other hikers what I needed. I met this man from the Czech Republic doing the Continental Divide Trail who gave me these iodine pills, which worked. When I got to Bona Vista, I tried to switch them back out for Aquamira or the Sawyer Squeeze, but all they had was more iodine or the $100 Platypus gravity systems. So I got more iodine, and actually when I left Bona Vista, I met a biker going through the Catalans whose water pump broke, and he had no way to purify his water with all that cow poop in it. So actually I'm giving him my extra set of iodine. So this one little bottle ended up helping 3 people on the trail, which was amazing. Also in Bona Vista is when I started mailing things home. The first thing I mailed home was my base layer or my thermals. I never used them the entire trail, and the one day I wish I had them was the day I sent them home, as I got stuck in a storm in Conwood Pass in Collegiate West, and it was about an hour and a half, and I was just super cold by the time it was all over. Well, outside of that, I was pretty comfortable. Other things I sent home in Bona Vista were my crampons. These were in a resupply package I had sent myself in Jefferson. I never used them. I went through 10 Mile Range, Sealy Pass, Kokomo Pass, Kenosha Pass. Never needed them, never even post-old, so I would not carry these if I were to do it again. I also sent home my liner socks. I just never used them. Between my footwear and my socks, I didn't really have any blisters. So I got really lucky and I just didn't need the extra weight. So I sent these home as well. Also, when I started, I had this little bottle of camp suds just for cleaning my pot. Out on the trail, was cooking and everything. But I ended up just using my Dr. Bronner's, which I use for myself. I figured what's the point of carrying 2 different soaps if I can make it work with one. So that's what I did for the rest of the trail from Bona Vista on. This other things, small things I sent home were my sunglasses, which I kind of wish I had kept. They're just clip-on, so they were bending easy when I wasn't wearing them, and that's the main reason I sent them back. And I got these little paper towels here. Little round paper towels, but when you get them wet, they expand out into a real paper towel. I think I used these once to kind of show people by Kokomo Pass, and I never used them again, so I decided just to send them home. And that's pretty much all the gear that failed and swapped and replaced when I was on the trail. But when I get back from the trail, I realized what I was looking for in certain pieces of equipment. So going forward, if I were to do the trail again, on my trail I brought the Big Agnes Fly Creek UL2. It was a good tent, I really liked it, but like I said, it was getting problems with holes in the rainfly, which is a light tent, so it's probably just the material thickness. On top of that, the entrance is at the end, not on the side, so to get in and out, you're pretty much climbing over your own gear, especially with the vestibule right there, and that gets quite annoying. So if I were to do it again, I would be looking at the Nemo Hornet or the Nemo Dragonfly, which is basically the same thing as this. The Dragonfly is a little bit more freestanding and has the side doors. The Hornet is the exact same thing, but it has the side entrances, so you have the double vestibule space. Other things I would do is water purification. So going forward, I actually picked up the Sawyer Squeeze and CNOC 2-liter bag. And this is what I'll be using. Aquamira and iodine work great, but they don't filter out the grit and the dirt, and with the Aquamira, you have to worry about it leaking out. So going forward, I think I'm going to use an actual filter and see how that goes for me. Alright, next thing I'm going to be doing is camp shoes. Even though I just bought these on my last through hike, I will be trying to switch these out for a real pair of Crocs. I did get little blisters in the tips of my toes using these in Creed, which is not ideal that you get blisters from your camp shoes but not your hiking shoes. So that's something I'll be looking at replacing as well. And then clothing. I would just bring more clothing. On the CT, I had the one pair of underwear I was wearing, and that's what I used the entire time, and I had one pair of extra socks. Going back to that storm I talked about in Cottonwood Pass, a marmot actually stole one of my socks in the middle of the night, and it left me with nothing dry to get into. By the time I got to Creed for my zero, I basically had trench foot, because I had like 3 storms in one day I had to go through. And that's when I got my extra pair of socks. I actually got 2 there because I was worried about the San Juans being just as wet as the Collegiate West. So if I were to do it again, I would definitely bring more socks and I would bring more underwear. Another piece of clothing that I don't have anymore are my Frog Tog rain pants. They're cheap, they're light, they work. But if I were to do it again, I would do it differently. My crotch blew out actually by the Bona Vista Cottonwood Pass area. So when it was raining, for example, in that storm, I had to constantly reposition myself as water was getting into my crotch and making my underclothes wet. So it kind of defeated the whole purpose of carrying them to begin with. Like I said, they did make it to Durango, but they were pretty beat up at that point, and I just threw them away. So again, that is the gear that I failed on me, what I replaced it with, what I would do next time, and what I ended up sending home and not even using really on this trail. So I really hope this helps you with planning your through hike, and until next time.